Greetings everyone, this is Connor from Dagora TV, and in this video we're asking, could there be another side game in the Elder Scrolls franchise? Okay, so before I go into it, I think I should clarify what I mean by a side game. By this I don't mean a side game in one of the games like Oblivion or Skyrim, I mean one of the games like Redguard or Shadowkey. And Redguard was a game in this kind of side franchise in the Elder Scrolls series called The Elder Scrolls Adventures that was cancelled straight after Redguard's release. And there's another one called Shadowkey, and Shadowkey was just released solely on the N-Gage in 2004. And basically what I mean by another side game is that something to go that's not part of the numbered franchise. So it's not going to be the Elder Scrolls 6, it's not going to be the Elder Scrolls 7 if it comes out after that. It's going to be the Elder Scrolls Type of Septim or something like that, where you play through Type of Septim. It's just a side experience, really, different to what we get in from episodes 1 to 5 so far. Okay, so I'll just give some clarification of what the Redguard and Shadowkey are. Redguard is released in 1998 and was part of Elder Scrolls Adventures and took around 8 hours to complete. Redguard is one that was on a planned side series called the Elder Scrolls Adventures, and the Elder Scrolls Adventures was like it was a side series meant to bring smaller stories, smaller scale worlds, and very linear experiences to the player. But it was cancelled shortly after Redguard's release as it didn't really sell very well. And the next sequel was actually planned to feature the Eye of Argonia, which is a priceless King's Jewel in Black Marsh, but that never came out as again poor sales with Redguard, and then it really got cancelled. And really the reception from Redguard from players that actually played it was kind of mixed. Some people loved it, some people hated it, and it just begs the question, could Bethesda ever take the risk again and, do something like this? And the risk of having lesser sales is not going to be a possibility. I mean, look at what happened with the Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, as an MMO, people really thinking the idea about putting Elder Scrolls and MMO together was, not a great idea, but then it came out, and really it sold an absolute boatload of copies because of the Elder Scrolls name, because the Elder Scrolls franchise has really got seriously popular ever since Redguard came out, and, there was Morrowind, which really kicked it, into, real form and, getting real excitement and passion behind the franchise, and then we had Oblivion and Skyrim, and then it really is just grown and grown and grown throughout each release, and having another story on the side, I think would be a kind of a cool experience. It's not going to be the open world areas that what we get in the proper Elder Scrolls games, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but it's going to be, a story where we could experience, in the past, as Redguard was set in the Second Era, which is, an era behind Morrowind and Oblivion, and 2 eras behind Skyrim, and I personally think that having, a story that could, be experienced in this format would be really cool, experience the story of Type of Septim, experience the Elysian Slave Rebellion in a linear, action story, I think it would be really, really a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, it doesn't have to be extremely long, 10 to 15 hour experience. And I think now that Bethesda Game Studios has expanded their team to around about 150 people, I think, with the opening of the other office in Montreal, I think it's possible to, give something like this to them and let them make it, because I think it's something that a lot of people wouldn't refuse. Yes, obviously we'd all prefer, to have an Elder Scrolls 6 or an Elder Scrolls 7, and we're not saying that they're not going to come out, but, this is just another thing in addition to, the Elder Scrolls normal games that come out, and I think it would be something that I'd find interesting, like, both of the examples here, didn't do so well. Shadowkey, released on the N-Gage in 2004, I mean, coming out on the N-Gage, a platform that probably, I'm guessing, quite a few of the listeners probably haven't heard of, and it tells you why, that it's not going to be, a really good platform to play the game on, because it doesn't have a big install base, and, it obviously didn't do too well. And people are obviously going to play it now, because people are going to be having N-Gages in the environment, and, Redguard, as a game, it also showed important things. As the only known members of the Slowed race, which is an additional race in the Elder Scrolls series that we've read about in the lore, was shown only in this Redguard game, so that's where we know they exist and where we've seen them. So I think, they've got the balls to release, key details in the lore and things in these kind of games, and I think it would be really interesting to have some of that in a linear game. It could be another one of the Elder Scrolls Adventures, or it could just be another side thing, another side title completely. And if I was going to have to pick one where, I want it to be set, the Rise of Septim obviously appeals to me. They could do what happened to the Dwemer. That if they could do that, the Battle of Red Mountain, the whole thing around that, they could definitely do that. And I think, this is not going to be something that ultimately replaces the traditional games in the series, but is it possible that this is in development? I mean, it's possible, but I think it's very unlikely. As Todd Hamill come out and said, we're doing 3 games that are being 3 projects that are Bethesda-style games, but very different than what we've done before. And I think that, that includes, a new IP. I think it includes Elder Scrolls 6, and that one more could be a side adventure in the Elder Scrolls series, but I don't think they're going to be working on 2 Elder Scrolls games at the same time. Like I said before, I think the only time this could happen is if they shipped it off to that other studio, and which would be, I'd be up for that. And I think also it could also have the possibility of having an original story, a story that we haven't heard about, much in the Elder Scrolls series. Like Redguard itself was an original story of a Redguard person trying to find his sister, as that was the the Redguard Easter egg, the quest in Winterfell, in Whiterun, when you got the 2 Redguards coming up and trying to find the sister, and the sister's in the bar. It's kind of like a similar Easter egg to that. And I would really appreciate it if they did it in, a lore standpoint of what we've read about, but if they was going to do an original story, of some areas in the Elder Scrolls series, just to have it in the world would be really cool and a lot of fun, and something kind of different. Okay, so I thought I'd make this video just to kind of make you think about of what a side game could definitely, could have in an Elder Scrolls game. And I was just thinking, what would you like if there was going to be a side? Is there a point of lore that you'd like to have in? Is there a distinct area of time you'd like it to have in? Or would you like it to be an original story, and what would you like it to cover? Would you like it to build up more areas on different races, etc, etc? Also, if you like this video, please check out my other Elder Scrolls 6 content in the playlist that is on the channel, and titled Elder Scrolls 6 videos. And I've covered a lot so far on the channel. I'm going to be a hell of a lot more throughout the years that are coming up, because there's probably going to be a long time before our next Elder Scrolls 6 game. So please check out those videos. Also please check out the other videos on my channel. You can keep up to date with all the stuff that I've got by subscribing. Also, if you want to donate, please make sure you check the links in the description below, as any or all donations come back into the channel, and that was able to get me this brand new BU Yeti mic, which I'm speaking into right now, which definitely improves the quality of my voice. Once again, thanks a lot for watching, and be sure to check out the video that I've got coming out tomorrow. And subscribe. Goodbye.